Greetings survivors and friends, SHADOWFRAX here with your roundup of all that's new in Rust, including the latest patch, some more jungle imagery, and wallpaper for floors and ceilings. But first, those of you who were around on April the 1st will have found out by now what the Squeaky Boy 3000 was, as your hammers would all have been replaced with this business. So no, it wasn't some kind of squeaky toy for taming wolves, although I do like that idea. Sadly, it has now been completely removed from the game files, but perhaps it'll return next year. Or worse. Who knows? Yesterday was patch day, and there were a few new things to know, which I'll run down for you now. Firstly, you'll now be able to see area of effect visualizations for various deployables when deciding where to place them, including sprinklers, heaters, igniters, flame turrets, and shotgun traps. The HBHF and auto turret ones are a bit too big to be easily seen from inside their spheres, as shown last week, but if you look carefully, you can just about see the edge. And as a handy hint, it's a lot easier to see them in low light conditions. I was surprised to see that hoppers weren't included in this, although I'm told that's being thought about. Also, if you don't want to see these at all, you can turn them off in the options. Bees had a balance pass. Their damage was adjusted and now all clothing is taken into consideration, with hazmats still blocking all stings. Bee attacks won't cause bleeding now, and multiple swarms don't stack damage in the same way, with each extra one doing less and less damage when piled on top. Beehives had some improvements too. They were producing too much in temperate zones, so this was nerfed. You can now use them in the snow with sufficient heating. Not sure how that works, as the bees still have to go outside to find nectar, presumably. Makes you wonder how a bee keeps swarm in such a situation. In hives, there's now better info to show when honeycomb is being produced, along with the current temperature. Nuclei can now be composted, and there were a lot of other bug fixes, which should make everything buzz along nicely. There were a load of other changes and quality of life upgrades in this patch, and these were: boater bags and honeycomb can now be put in fridges. You can deploy rugs underneath already deployed deployables. All crossbow and bow turrets will now show other players if they're loaded and with which type of ammo. Impact decals now randomly rotated and scaled for variety's sake. Hanging banners can be placed from much further away for ease of placement, and pole banners can be placed on constructions. The chicken coop will now show which foods the needy chickens will eat. You can put parachutes on weapon racks. Bread will now heal over time instead of insta-heals. Sorry about that one. And there are some new admin commands, including clear bushes radius, which clears client-side foliage around the camera, and some always-on commands, which means things don't need fuel, and you can read all about that here. There are a couple of new items on the store this month. Firstly, the Adobe high walls and gates, which are controversially, some might say, purchased extra and not included in the Adobe building skin pack. These are $7.99 over here, but as shown last week, there's also a new sunken combat knife skin, which has been bundled into the Abyss pack for free. So swings and roundabouts, I guess. Premium's going well, reportedly. There's a quick write-up on the blog saying that the feedback's showing 4 times less cheaters being reported, and the servers are proving very popular. Some more official ones are on the way. Do you agree with this result? Have you seen much of a difference yourself? The threshold for getting into premium servers is staying the same for now, although it is, of course, subject to change and may increase further down the line. Further to the recent Discord integration in Rust, those who do sync their accounts will get this special trophy that can be crafted in-game and placed for 70% comfort. It's apparently a companion that reminds you of your youth. There are also some sections on the blog that I'll point you to read, or you can just pause here. There's an update regarding Linux dedicated servers and minimum requirements for support if that applies to you. For server owners, you'll be pleased to know that command line arguments will now properly overrule conflicting values in the server config file. And there's a section regarding the HackerOne bounty program for reporting security vulnerabilities and exploits in exchange for a bug bounty. Oh, and server occlusion, which is designed to hide players from ESP when they're behind terrain, etc., is now on by default, but server owners can opt out of it with the convars shown here. This month's patch was entitled Soft Refresh because of the changes to Softcore mode that came in, although I realise a lot of you either don't play that mode or didn't even realise such a thing existed, which isn't that surprising really, as there's only a couple of hundred players on as I type this. I guess they want to make it a bit more popular. And for those of you who want to recap on the changes, I covered them all pretty much in my last video. There is one thing though that's worth mentioning for the rest of you, and I'd like to get your thoughts on this. Basically, one of the big changes to Softcore Softcore mode was that deployables now leave behind corpses that can be repaired or even picked up. And in the case of tool cupboards, the destroyed version still provides building authorization in its normal radius for 48 hours and can only be repaired by players that are authorized on it. The point I want to draw your attention to is here, where it says, whilst this feature is only applied to the Softcore game mode, it's a bit of an experiment, and we may bring it over to the vanilla game in future. So, what do you think to that idea? Deployable or deplorable? Let me know in the comments below. There are 3 more sneak peek images of the new jungle biome on the blog, with a National Geographic shot of the new tiger and a couple of others to give you a flavour of the foliage you can expect to be hiding out in. And according to this commit, Crocs will be able to break twig foundations. Just a heads up for you. Hopefully, at some point soon, this month, the jungle biome will open up for testing, and I'll let you know when that happens, so stay tuned. Just looking at the commits now, and there are some interesting developments worth pointing out. The team are going ahead, it seems, with expanding interior decor and turning the wallpaper item into a tool that will allow for floor and ceiling coverings to be applied too. There are a couple of new items being worked on that will probably be DLC skins, namely an Aztec rifle and an obsidian knife. Vending machines will be getting a built-in fridge, and you'll be able to power them to prevent meat from spoiling. The chicken coop's being reduced in size slightly to help it fit better. There are a few commits regarding a naval update, with lots of work going on to create a trawler ship. Not sure if that's a static thing yet or if it will move about. And over on the Auxo 2 branch, volumetric clouds can now be turned on in the experimental options, which, as you can see, in comparison to the current skybox, look a lot more realistic and 3D, especially in certain lights and at certain times of the day. This is still a work in progress and a way off, but I'm not noticing any significant impact on performance with them on. You'll be glad to know. Let me know what you think to these in the comments, please. And lastly, a sad announcement, really. Paddy at Face Punch, who's been responsible for the majestic cinematics that have been a part of the patch videos for the last 6 years, is moving on, and he will be greatly missed. I wish him all the best for the future. Thanks, Paddy. Thaddy. Right, you are up to date, so please leave a like and a comment below. You can support the channel here with super thanks, YouTube memberships, and via Patreon. Also, check me out on my socials, including my Steam group, to stay in the loop. I shall catch you all soon, but in the meantime, keep calm and stay rusty. Cheerio. For free!